Hello everybody, it's Zach here from realestatelicensewizard.com. Today we are going over another real estate math practice question. If you're new here in this series, we have our real estate math questions that are likely to show up on the real estate exam. If you have any math questions you want me to cover, you can drop them down below. You can email me, all that good stuff, and they may be featured in a future video. If you want to try real estate math questions out yourself, as well as regular real estate exam questions, check out our website, realestatelicensewizard.com. Now this series and channel has been an amazing experience for anyone studying for the real estate exam. So make sure to click that like button and subscribe. That way you're fully prepared come exam day. Anyways, without further ado, let's jump right into it. So we're talking about appreciation today. We've been doing depreciation, appreciation basics, all the good stuff this whole week. We covered all sorts of different problems. If you haven't checked those out, I encourage you guys to do that as well. All right, so let's take a look at today's question. All right, so the question says, a lot purchased 5 years ago for $100,000 has appreciated a total of 10% since its purchase. How much per year did the property appreciate for? And it gives us 4 options. So like usual, I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to bust it out, come up with the answer, and all that good stuff. So go ahead and do that right now. All right, so hopefully you guys came with your answer. If you need more time, feel free to pause, no biggie. So what is our answer on this one? Well, it's going to be B. That's right, it's $2,000. So how on earth did we get that? So let's break things down as simple as they can be. So if you guys have been following along early in the week, we did not really talk about the per year. And early in the week, we talked about depreciation, and then we just did appreciation, and now we're doing per year and appreciation. So we're bringing everything together. We're bringing things full circle. So let's kind of do this the best way possible. So for starters, what do we have to do in this problem? So first off, since it appreciated, we have to take this 10%, and I'm just going to underline these numbers right now to save time. We're going to take that 10%, and we're going to add it to 100%. Which, as I mentioned in the last video, you need to add for appreciation. And what's that going to give us? That's going to give us 110%. So then what we do with that 110% is we multiply it by this $100,000. So we're taking $100,000, and again, we're multiplying because it appreciated by 1.10 or 110%. So once we do that, that is going to give us, do you know? So that is going to give us $10,000, or I'm sorry, $110,000. So from there, that is our new value. That is what it appreciated to. So again, this is like step 1, step 2. We're on step 2 now. So once we have that number, we have to take that and subtract it. A lot of ones and zeros in this problem. We have to subtract that by its original value. So you take the new value, and again, you subtract it by the original value. So you would take $100,000 minus $100,000, which again is our original value, and that gives us $10,000. Okay, a lot of tens, a lot of ones, a lot of zeros. Now listen, we're not done yet. So maybe you got this far and then you were like, oh, it's D. But look, it says here, how much per year did the property appreciate for? So now we have to look at that 5, and it says here a lot purchased 5 years ago. So we take that 10,000, and then what are we doing? We're dividing by 5, because again, 5 years. And when we do that, that's pretty simple. We're going to be getting $2,000, which means, guess what? We got our answer, and that is how much per year the property appreciated for in terms of a dollar value. It appreciated $2,000 every year, which is pretty good. But yeah, so that is a full-blown appreciation problem. Now, before we wrap up this week, I did want to cover a few things. When we're talking about this appreciation and depreciation stuff, I mentioned it a little bit in the last video, and I just want to cover it briefly again. There are different ways to do this, and I'm sure if you guys have been looking up appreciation and depreciation problems, you might have found other ways to do that. And as I mentioned in the other video, hey, if you find a way that you like to do it. Find out what makes you comfortable in terms of doing these problems, and whatever you like to do best, do it. So for example of like a variation in terms of these formulas and problems, you notice how I did this 100% plus 10%, and I was also minusing it when for terms of depreciation. You don't have to do it that way for depreciation problems or even appreciation problems. An example would be you could actually take this 10% and just multiply that by 100%, and that's going to give you $10,000. And then you would subtract it, or I'm sorry, you would add it to that $100,000. So again, it's slightly different, but it's not wrong. It's exactly the same answer. It's just different steps. Another example would be for depreciation. If you had, let's say $100,000 again, and let's just say this would, here, let me erase this. I'll bust it out for you guys. That way we can kind of just, let me explain it to you guys so you can understand. So let's just say this is depreciation. Erase that real fast. And I'll just put D for depreciation. So imagine you took this $100,000 and you wanted to do it this different way. And again, there's not one perfect way of doing this. There's many ways of doing this. Well, in this method, you would multiply it by 10% or 0.10, and it would give you $10,000. So you're getting $10,000 right there. From there, what you would have to do is subtract it. And again, remember that this is hypothetically if it was a depreciation problem. So you would take this $100,000, you'd minus it by that $10,000, and that would give you $90,000. So if a house, let's just say this purchased 5 years ago for $100,000, it depreciated a total of 10%. Remember, depreciate in this example, then its value would be 90,000. And you see how we did that differently? So again, it's completely up to preference. There is not a 100% right way to do this. I guess there are right ways to do this and there are wrong ways to do this. But my point in all of this is there's multiple right ways to do this. And then, of course, once you get this $90,000, let's just finish out the problem for you guys. How much per year did the property appreciate for? So of course, or in our case, it would be depreciate. We would do the same thing. We would take that $10,000, and then we would divide again by 5, and actually it would be the same answer, which is kind of ironic. But yeah, it would be the same answer because, the numbers are the same because again, it's that 10%, but I'm getting off on a tangent. I'm going off on so many different things. But the point is, if you guys are still listening, if you still made it through this week, there are different ways to do this. There's no wrong. Well, again, I keep saying that, but there's no absolutely right way to do it. There's multiple right ways to do it. So if you guys went through this week and you're like, well, hold on, I didn't do it this way, that's totally okay. Do what's comfortable for you. Do what you're going to be able to do come exam day to the best and to the greatest extent. If you feel comfortable doing your way, great. If you feel comfortable doing it my way, great. Don't let anybody sit there and tell you that they have this perfect way of doing these appreciation, depreciation problems, because this is the truth. They're different for everybody. Some people learn this way. When I was talking to some of my younger students, they learned the way that I was doing. And then when I talked to some of my older students, they know how to do it this way, the one that I just explained to you guys. So again, it just completely depends on preference to do this. Now, one last thing before we jump off, I just want to say that there are harder depreciation problems, and that is when it comes into specific like taxes as well as real estate. What's a good example? Oh, so like when you're looking at a chart and if you are talking about taxes and you want to depreciate something, that's completely different than what we covered this week. I may cover that in the future, but just so you guys know that too, that's super important to distinguish because again, there are different depreciation problems. We did the basic depreciation and appreciation problems today, so you can check that off your list. All right, so without further ado, that's going to be it. If you guys stayed along for this extra mini lecture, I really appreciate it. I hope I explained things good for you guys. If you have any comments, questions, all that good stuff, feel free to leave them down below. I really appreciate the feedback and love we've been getting lately. Honestly, this community is growing so much and it makes everything so much more fun and so much more exciting just to log in on YouTube and see all the comments, questions and stuff and just answer and get the feedback from you guys. So thank you for that. All right, guys, have a fantastic weekend. do whatever makes you happy, all that good stuff. I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much for watching. As always, this is Zach from realestatelicensewizard.com. Make today magical.